on my hands, blood on my shirt, blood on my pants. I gotta get it off by doing this work. I gotta get this blood off. All my Crips and Bloods lost. You was bought with a price. How much that blood cost?
In the name of his only begotten Son, who the world calls Christ, Issachar. All right? We out here to preach edification to the nation of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, man, who are running around in Houston right now acting like the world is not coming to an abrupt end, right? That's what's wrong with our people. Every damn place I go to, right? We done been all around this damn country preaching this word through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai, and our people see this place getting ready to end, but our people are not acting like it, man, right? White man that gave so-called Negroes and Latinos some unemployment money, and they think that life is good, right? They're not understanding. They're totally detached from reality and disillusioned. That's what's wrong with our people, so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Americans, right? Right? A war is on the horizon, man. A war is on the horizon, right? You see them white supremacists, they threaten they're going to do X, Y, and Z if Trump don't get reelected. Don't worry about that, right? Because he's done with he'll be back in office. At least he dropped dead. He'll be back in office, right? Okay? So there's nothing to worry about as far as that goes. But understand something. There's a group of people that are all throughout this country that have existed as race soldiers and sleeper cells that are ready to murder blacks and Hispanics at any given time. Some of them do it anyway, right? The police doing it, right? And we talk about the police, but then there's something called those Minutemen, right? The Minutemen that sit at the border of Mexico and America and murder so-called Hispanics when they cross that border, right? And there's no documentation on that. There's no body count. Nobody's even caring about taking the official figures and numbers for anything like that, right? It's a reason for it. So read.
This is 1 Thessalonians 5:3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them.
That's right. They ain't talking about no goddamn what's that? The peace treaty. The peace treaty between Bahrain and Israel. You got every idiot on YouTube that's making a video about a peace treaty between Bahrain and Israel as if Bahrain and Israel had some type of conflict. Right? How's a peace treaty going on between two places that's not beefing with each other? That's not no damn peace treaty. That's a goddamn publicity stunt. Right. That's a press day. They ain't doing nothing but filling up the headlines with nonsense. No, there's real destruction that's coming. Just when you think everything is sweet, everything is safe, and everything's all good, real destruction is coming to this place. And you so-called blacks and Hispanics, you better wake up to it. Or you going to fall victim to what's coming. Read.
This is 1 Thessalonians 5:3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child.
It's going to just be like when a woman gives birth to a baby. That's what's coming to this earth. That's what's coming specifically here to the United States of America, which is known in biblical prophecy under the alias of Babylon, right? A lot of people don't understand that. You go in the Bible, it's not going to say you at the U.S. of A. That's not in the Bible, right? But America is tough. You mean to tell me the most powerful country with the longest run, it's not talked about? The scripture's just going to leave America out of this thing. They call it the greatest country ever. And they allege that this country is one nation under God. But God just is going to forget to leave it out? That don't make no sense. This is in there, right? But it's under an alias. That's where you get the term allegory from. The root word of allegory means an alias. So you're referring to something under the auspice of its alias as opposed to its direct and actual name. So it's in there as Babylon the Great. Read.
It says, and they shall not escape.
And what?
They shall not escape.
There ain't going to be no escaping, man. At least you so-called blacks and Hispanics return to the Most High. If you don't return, you will burn. Ain't that right, Ayaz? If you don't return, you're going to burn. What are you supposed to return to? You got to return to your culture, man. That's right. Everybody want to talk about for the culture. This is the culture. That's not a good look for the culture. Right? In the last couple of years, all of a sudden, this for the culture concept starts becoming a talking point among so-called black and Hispanic people, man. Right? But none of you people know anything about any goddamn culture. Right. All the culture that we have now It's culture that's been given to us by our oppressor, or the oppressor gave us damn lemons, and we simply made lemonade, and we start calling that lemonade culture with the poisonous lemons that the devil has given us, man, that our oppressor has given us. And we call that culture. I'm going to explain something to you. Our culture, the culture of Negroes, the culture of Latinos, the culture of the Native Americans, is right here in the Bible. It is Hebrew culture, right? If you don't believe me, just study your culture, the culture of the indigenous peoples of the Americas, the culture of the various tribes of West Africa that were brought here in cargo slavery. Study their culture prior to being contacted with the white man, and you're going to see all types of aspects of Hebrewisms, Hebrew culture, all throughout our culture. That's how we know this is our culture, and this is what we need to come back to. That's the real culture, right? And our culture has been vultured, it's been preyed upon by a group of people who have turned themselves into the most powerful people in this world, the richest people, the most influential people, the people whose word means the most in this world, the so-called Jewish man, who is the synagogue of Satan that the Bible speaks of. That's right. He's made himself rich from stealing our culture, and instead, he gives us a BS culture, and we just sit here and make the best of it, right? If you go on the internet, you'll see this, man. Let me tell you something, so-called Mexican, the tribe of Issachar, man. On the internet, the so-called Mexicans are at war with each other on the internet about what Mexican culture is, right? And you know what the two biggest groups of Mexicans that are fighting right now? The California Mexican and the Texas Mexican on the internet. Arguing about what it is to be Mexican.
I'm Texas Mexican.
Right? You're a Texas Mexican, right? You're an Israelite, brother. That's what you really are. But you got Texas Mexicans. No. What were you before? What language do Apache speak? Huh? What are the prophecies of the Apache? All right? Break this dude all the way now. Now he's Apache. I thought you was a Tex Mexican. The Tex Mexican would not call himself an Apache. That's madness, right? People don't, but this is how silly our people are. But on the internet right now, you got Mexicans from Texas and Mexicans from California arguing about what a real Mexican would never do this. That's what a California Mexican will say, right? The Texas Mexican say, no, a real Mexican will never do this. It's madness, man. Wait a minute, I'm gonna tell you what a real Mexican, the term Mexican goes back to the Nawa language, right? The Nawa language. Number one, who knows what Nawa means in Hebrew? Say what? Huh? Nawa means hour. Hour. So when they call themselves the Nawa people, they were calling themselves our people, right? Abba means our father when you put the Nawa. So that Nawa means ours. So the so-called Mexican called it, this is a language that they had a name for. No, they're saying this is our language, right? And that term, Mexica, which you get Mexican from, goes back to the Hebrew Mashiach, which means anointed. So your actual culture, the true Mexican culture, is to be an anointed child of God. That's right. It's not about if you say fool or you say nigger to each other. Because that's what the Mexican is on the internet arguing. The California Mexicans, they looking like, man, y'all say nigger in Texas, man. We ain't supposed to say nigger. We're Mexican, right? How much of a retarded argument is that? We're all arguing about words that we call each other that a white person forced us to use. Ain't that something? And Issachar is so crazy because it's happened twice. Because it wasn't bad enough y'all speak Spanish. Now you're arguing the English words y'all using. The second oppressor's language, man. It's madness, man. What our people got to understand is this is our culture, all right? The Bible, that thing that sits in the pews of those buildings that we pack into every Sunday and don't know what the hell is going on, right? What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's going on?
How you feeling, King?
All right, I've been actually looking into y'all.
You've been looking into this, a beautiful thing. What tribe you from, huh?
I guess I would follow with the Mexican tribe.
The Mexican tribe, the tribe of Issachar, all praise to the Most High, brother. You from Texas?
Yeah, I'm from Texas.
You from what part? You from Houston?
Yeah, Houston.
Okay, all praise to the Most High, man. So I was just explaining, right? I just was going into this, how right now on the internet, you got Mexicans from Texas and California having a fight online about what real Mexican culture is, right?
Right.
But the whole time, all the culture that all of us have as blacks and Latinos is something that somebody gave us any goddamn way.
Yeah.
None of us are following our own culture. We might have taken what they gave us and did our own thing with it, but the language we speak, the religions we believe in, everything about what we're doing here, somebody else gave it to us. You see what I'm saying? And that's stupidity. You see what I'm saying? We got to get back to our culture. Give me Deuteronomy 33 and 4. We got to get back to our culture. See what I'm saying? Our real true, before the white man came and told us the damn thing. That's what we got to get back to, right, Reed?
Deuteronomy 33 and 4. Moses commanded us a law, even the inheritance of the congregation of Jacob.
So our inheritance, our heritage is the law, is the instructions that God gave us, right? That tell us what to do and what not to do, what's right and what's wrong. That's our heritage. That's our culture, right? Nothing else is our culture. So what we're teaching our people and what you've been looking into is just trying to get us to come back to that, right? So we can learn how to properly function with each other, because it's clear that we have no idea. If we knew how to properly function, we wouldn't kill each other. We wouldn't beef with each other. You see what I mean? We wouldn't do any of that stuff if we knew how to act. But it's clear that we need help. So as far as what you've been looking into, man, like what have you?
Well, I mean, I've seen that outside before. Like I've been like on, a spiritual path of my own. You know what I'm saying? Like looking into like meditation stuff, third eye, things like that.
Yes, sir.
And then I saw a video like just like how y'all was doing, but like in California, I think off of Slauson somewhere.
Okay.
And they're pretty much talking about the same stuff. Getting back to the natural roots and tribes. And I already know about the white man coming in and doing
of course.
I mean, I'm still trying to get some more insight on it. Something different that I'm trying to like look into.
Definitely, man. I encourage you to do that. Is there any particular questions that you had off top? Because I know we love to give you any answers.
Like does this fall under like any Islamic type stuff? Like how does that go? Like what y'all?
Go ahead. What you were saying?
Like what is it considered? Like Israelites? Like is that what we are?
Yes, we are the Israelites, right? Before we give me Deuteronomy 28 and 49, right? Before we even came over here, right? Because we know, even if you follow the Aztec culture, right? The Aztecs will tell you that they migrated from somewhere else and then they settled where they settled, right? Which is now known as, they call that area Mexico City, the capital district, right? That's where they settled. But they came from somewhere else. They said they came from Texas first. Then before they came from Texas, they came from somewhere else, right? So according to what the Mayans say is, they say they landed in Florida, right? But they came from the east, from east of Florida, right? So now we're gonna take a look at these properties, right? Go ahead. Yeah, just let them go through, man. Things are going faster than that, man. What's going on, y'all? Hold on. Give me Deuteronomy 28:49, right? So boom, right? We're gonna show you these prophecies that's gonna identify us as the Israelites, and it specifically identify your tribe, the so-called Mexican, or the tribe of Issachar.
Deuteronomy 28.
First thing I'm gonna tell you is down near Mexico City, there's actually a city called Issachar in Mexico, right? Which is the name of your tribe. That's by no coincidence, right? Read.
It says, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth.
Spain came from the other side of the earth against you, right? Read.
As swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Right, when you encountered him, y'all spoke Nawa, they spoke Spanish. Y'all didn't understand Spanish. A people whose tongue you should not understand. Read.
A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young.
Not regard, they didn't care, but they came and slaughtered kids, old people. They didn't give a damn, right? Read.
He shall eat the fruit of thy cattle.
He ate the fruit of your cattle, read.
And the fruit of thy land.
And the what?
The fruit of thy land.
So what happened was, when the Spaniard came to Mexico and throughout Latin America, they developed a system. That system is called encomienda, right? Or if I'm saying it right, encomienda. So that system was slavery. It was your village would work, and what you would produce, they would take and send back to Spain, right? That's slavery. That's straight up and down slavery. So they put y'all in that slavery. So y'all had land, you had cattle, you had all those things here in the Americas. Before the white man came, he came and he ate that. See? Just like the prophecy said. Go ahead.
Which also shall not leave thee, and he shall not leave thee corn, wine, or oil.
That's right. He what?
Shall not leave thee corn, wine, or oil.
And what was the biggest, or one of the more bigger or more important things that the Aztec had and the Mayans had? Is something called corn, right? Corn was the major thing for the indigenous peoples of the Americas. How important it was. Y'all used it for everything. It said that the white man would not leave you corn. Now when you take a look at the corn that they're trying to grow in America, you could just look at the picture, it's all messed up. Half of it, the corn ain't growing on. Because that's how much they destroyed those crops, right? Keep going.
It says, or flocks of thy sheep.
Or the what?
Flocks of thy sheep.
They killed your animals, right?
Until you have destroyed thee.
Until he what?
Destroyed thee.
So that's the situation we in now. In the situation of destruction and desolation, this is all part of it. Give me second Ezra, right? So what was your religious background coming up?
Well, I was Catholic coming up, but
Catholic.
I actually practice a form of Buddhism right now. You know,
Okay.
it's just a practice, you know, because I believe like meditation and everything.
Okay.
It's just like a tool to kind of help me get where I'm at.
I'm with you. So you have to get where you go. I'm with you. We're walking. You're on a walk. We're walking with you. So the reason I asked you that Catholic, right? I grew up Catholic as well.
I do not believe anything they got going on.
I understand. I'm with you. I'm with you. We, of course, don't either. The only reason I'm asking you is we're getting ready to go into a book called Second Ezra. Give me that. This is in a book called the Apocrypha. In the Catholic Bible and the original English translation of the Bible, it was all one book, right? Who's got 60? Give me this. In this Bible, it's all together. But after 1789, the Protestants took 14 books out of the Bible, right? The Catholics leave about half of those books in. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just showing you this for the context. If you grew up Catholic, okay, in the Catholic Bible, this would be in there. But in like any Protestant or any Protestant offshoot church, which are the more popular churches in America, these will be taken out and put in a book called the Apocrypha. Go ahead. So we're going to go here because they're attempting to hide certain things, right? So let's go read that.
Second Ezra 13 and 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners.
So it said the 10 tribes, right? Because what happened is there was a huge dispute amongst the Israelites. And the Israelites separated into two separate groups. You had the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. The northern kingdom was also called the 10 tribes, right? So the 10 tribes are who we say are the Latinos and Native Indians today, right? So keep reading.
Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own lands.
That's right.
In the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanassar, the king of Assyria, led away captive.
So what happened to y'all when you were in Israel is the king of Assyria took you guys into slavery, right? Read.
Led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
That's right. So came that y'all left Israel and y'all went into Assyria to be slaves, right?
But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country where never mankind.
Y'all said, we out of here. We're leaving here. We're not going to be slaves here. We're going to get out of here. Now, mind you, for a historical context, the Assyrians who enslaved you were in a huge war with a very big enemy, right? So what happens is while they're distracted with the war, y'all come up with the perfect escape plan. Oh, we getting up out of here. We gonna go far away from where anybody can enslave us, right? Read.
Into a land where never mankind dwelt.
We're gonna go to a place where no one's ever lived before. And that's what made y'all come over here to the Americas, right? Go ahead.
That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
So y'all understood that because we disobeyed the voice of God, that's what got y'all put in that position. So y'all say if we're away from everybody else, we'll be able to follow God and his instructions perfectly without any outside interference, nobody messing with us, right? That was y'all intentions, read.
And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them.
He said he showed what?
Signs for them.
God shows signs, right, read?
And held still the flood.
So y'all are on a ship. Y'all going on boats now. You're dealing with vessels. So God is showing you signs. So before there was a damn Google Maps out or Waze app, how would a people be able to navigate their way in a across the world journey?
Like an actual tool, or
What?
like a compass and off of what another man told him?
Well, that's one way. There's other ways too. There's something that's very natural that the Lord put on this earth.
Oh, like the moon and the sun and
And the stars.
The stars?
The stars. Now, who happened to have an extreme prowess in understanding the sun, the moon, and the stars? The Aztecs and the Mayans. The Aztecs and the Mayans knew that stuff so well. So when God said he showed signs, y'all were able to look up and understand the way to go. You ain't need Google Maps. He gave you an ability to look up at them stars and understand which path you should take. Right? Go ahead, read that.
First Chronicles 12 and 32. It says, and of the children of Issachar.
Children of Issachar, the so-called Mexican, right? The children of Issachar, read.
Which were men that had understanding of the times.
Y'all had understanding of the times. So this is why those calendars are so renowned. This is why people champion those Mesoamerican cultures for what they've been able to do as far as cultivating calendrical systems and keeping track of time. Because God blessed y'all with that. That's y'all special ability that he gave you. He gave a special ability to all the tribes. Y'all ability was that. And that's why y'all were able to navigate that voyage from one side of the world to the other. So your people can now inhabit this land and y'all can be free of outside influence. Read.
So then let's just back to it. It says verse 44. For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over.
That's right. Go ahead.
For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half.
It took y'all a year and a half to sail from all the way over there in Assyria, in the Middle East, all the way over here. You see what I'm saying? But that's how y'all got here. Read.
And the same region is called Arsareth.
Right? Arsareth in Hebrew just means another land. And it was just called another land simply because nobody had lived here before. So it's just like, oh, like that's the other place where nobody lives, because if somebody lived there, they would have named it, right? See, go ahead. Get the next verse. No, there's more on that.
It says, then, oh yeah, you're right. Then dwelt they there until the latter time.
And it said that y'all was going to be here until the end, right?
And now when they shall begin to come.
That's right. And then, of course, y'all will be here, and this is when y'all will begin to wake back up. See, but what happens is this. So in between y'all leaving and the damn Spaniard coming over here, what in the hell happened that the Most High allowed the Spaniard to come? The same thing that happened then is what happened that allowed God to have, or that God allowed the Assyrians to come. We were doing something wrong. The Lord will never let anybody come against us unless we're doing something wrong. He allows this to happen to teach us a lesson, right? So what if we study what was going on, the climate of the Americas before the white man came? You had tribes warring against each other. You had tribes enslaving one another, right? We're not supposed to be doing that to each other, right? So what does the Lord do? Oh, y'all want to kill and enslave each other? I'm going to send somebody to come and get all y'all like that. Because naturally what we're supposed to logically do is go, well, we don't like this, right? Who likes having that happen to them? So then why in the hell will we do it to each other, right? But the problem is now, even to this day, this is going on where our people don't want to do anything except for do exactly what the oppressor does, right? Our people get a little money, and now they want to look down at their own people. You was just nigga in the gutter with me yesterday. You done got a check today, and now I'm not nothing. No, this me. You see what I'm saying? But where do we get this from? We get this from them. That's why we have to detach ourselves from their whole ideology and really just get back to self-love. And a lot of times people mistake self-love and finding yourself with selfish love. See what I'm saying? Self-love is not just about you going, okay, what's your name, King? Armani. Selfish love is you going, I love you. Look in the mirror and say, I love Armani. Armani's a great guy. I love him. He's the best, right? But then when you leave out there, you see your fellow Mexican brother on the street fucking. That's selfish love.
Yeah.
No, self-love is you going, I'm Armani. I'm the Mexican brother. Houston, Texas. You go outside, you look at you. I love him the same as I love myself. This is what the scriptures are teaching us, right? Give me Leviticus 19, right? We're supposed to love each other like we love ourselves, right? Because it also tells us that we are the apple of God's eye, right? So the apple of your eyes is an old English way of saying, when I look you in the eye, I see my reflection in your pupil. You see what I'm saying? So when God says he looks at us as the apple of his eye, he's saying he loves us like he loves himself. You understand what I'm saying? We're supposed to have that same love for our fellow brothers. And this is where we go wrong, and this is the only reason why these other people can triumph over us. You see what I'm saying? You got black and Hispanic communities all throughout America that have been black or Hispanic for a long time, and the predominant business owners in those communities are not black and Hispanic. They're white, they're Asian, they're Arab, they're East Indian. How is that possible? Because we're busy not loving each other while they love each other. I've seen Arabs have competing businesses with each other directly across the street. He's on one corner, he's on one corner, and they still network with each other and help each other. Niggas and spics can't do that, man. We looking like F this nigga, nah, F that fool. Damn that's not my homeboy. Your own homeboy, they got this new term going out called backdoor, where people are double-crossing and setting their own homies up to be killed, robbed, murdered, etc. See what I'm saying? That's what our people do. Meanwhile, these people have competing businesses and they still work together. So the main thing, regardless of, because sometimes people can misconstrue or people take, isolated clips and push a narrative about what we're out here to do and teach. The main thing that we're trying to teach our people is to love ourselves and each other. That's it, because we've given our love to everybody else, and we have not given our love to each other. You see what I'm saying? Like, that people don't understand how much, and everybody on this side, not only do we have issues with each other, but in every internal tribe, there's internal issues. You see what I'm saying? And we're all suffering from this post-traumatic and this psychological damage. We just trying to heal, and we just trying to love one another. Go ahead, precept. You got a precept, Pop? Go.
Leviticus 19 and 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart.
So one of the first commandments the Most High give us is, thou shalt not hate thy neighbor in thy heart. You can't hate him. But every day our people wake up with so much hatred for each other, though.
Envy.
You see this envy for each other. There's somebody, where is he? Look at, who built this goddamn building right here? Listen, no, listen. The Hispanics might have actually physically built the building, right? Mexicans probably physically built the building. But the white man, that's his building. You see what I'm saying? But we don't never have the type of energy that we'll have towards each other when we have a disagreement. But look at who built the building in a stolen land with money he got from slave labor.
Right.
And he can just walk on by. And we'll never have that energy for him, but we'll want to kill each other, rob each other, beat each other down, embarrass, humiliate each other all day, every day. Read that again.
Leviticus 19 and 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart.
But the scriptures tell us not to hate one another. We got to hear this because we clearly hate each other. We hate ourselves and each other, right? Keep reading.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
So then it elaborates on love and an action of love. Go ahead, y'all good. Y'all go ahead. It elaborates on the action of love, right? Read that again.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
It say you shall rebuke your neighbor. So it's telling us indeed how we love each other. Love is not me just saying, oh, what's up, bro? I love you.
Right.
Let me give you a hug, bro. Nah, that ain't love. Love says you will in any wise rebuke your neighbor, keep reading,
and not suffer sin upon him.
And you ain't gonna suffer your neighbor to sin, right? That means if I see you doing something wrong, I'm gonna say, hey, bro, you shouldn't do that. That's love. If I see you going, you like, yeah, man, I just bought this damn, I just got this meth. I'm gonna go hit this meth pipe, bro. Now, hey, no, you shouldn't do that. That's love, man. I seen a brother smoking a cigarette the other day. I said, come on, bro. You doing that, bro? For real? Come on, bro. And he gave me an excuse. He said, come on, bro, I got shot. I can smoke a cigarette every once in a while. I said, brother, I've been shot. I didn't smoke cigarettes to cope with being shot. You see what I'm saying? that is BS. So our people love them excuses, but that was love. Now, he's going to do whatever he wants to do. But I still show my love for him because I know that's not conducive for his life to smoke. So I'm going to say, brother, nah, bro, you shouldn't do that. That's that love, right? But our people have a policy in our communities that's what? It ain't my business. That's our people's policy in the community. Oh, it ain't affecting me. I don't care. No matter what you listen, you getting robbed on hey, ain't got nothing to do with me. Nigga, just keep walking. You see what I'm saying? That's what's wrong with our people right there. It ain't my business mentality. Right? Give me Exodus of the blood of our neighbor, man. Right? That's the problem. But see, that's the stuff that got George Floyd killed. Right? When that police was just kneeling on his neck, there was a lot of time that passed that somebody could have did something. Somebody could have did something. And guess what? You might have got your ass whooped or you might have went to jail, but a brother would be alive still. Somebody would be alive. But see, that selfish love, like I was talking about, that selfish love that not self-love, selfish love says, well, I'm not going to put myself in jeopardy for this brother. You see what I'm saying? But we should be ready to sacrifice each other. Right. Most of us grew up Christian, right? If we grew up Christian and we taught about Jesus Christ making a sacrifice for us, right? So how the hell can you believe that somebody made a sacrifice for you, but you're not going to make a sacrifice for somebody else? And Jesus Christ, according to Christian belief, he made a sacrifice to everybody, people he didn't know or anything. So why can't you make a sacrifice for a brother you don't know, right? Our people are hypocritical out here. Go ahead, read that.
Leviticus 19.
No, the blood. Oh, it's right here. Go ahead.
19 to 16. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people.
Read on.
Neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor.
So it says, you shall not stand against the blood of your neighbor. That means if you see your neighbor getting injured, beat, killed, anything like that, you can't just stand there and watch and let that happen.
Right.
You have to insert yourself into that situation. You have to attempt to stop any further harm from coming to your fellow brother, right? But instead, we sit by, we record with the phone, but we don't do a damn thing while these things go on. This is what our people, this is the mindset our people have to change right there. Right, Precept? Go ahead, read that, Precept.
The book of John, chapter 15, verse 13. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends.
That's right. So that's real love. There's no greater love than a man laying down his life for his friend. That's the greatest love. But our people, that's totally how our people just don't even care, man. Right? Precept? Go ahead.
Leviticus 19 to 16, but in the NLT. It says, do not spread slanderous gossip among your people.
Read on.
Do not stand idly by when your neighbor's life is threatened.
Don't stand idly by. And everybody stood idly by while that damn cop just stood on a brother's neck and did nothing. But the problem is, we not taught this.
Right.
Right? So this is why we don't know to do it, because we're not taught it. Right? Good. Let me ask y'all a question in the back. I see y'all listening. Did y'all grow up going to church? A little bit. Do y'all go to church now? No. But y'all grew up going to church a little bit, right? Now, if we think about what's happening in the church, right? This brother Catholic, and I went to Catholic church, right? What type of church y'all went to? Baptist church, right? So in the Catholic and the Baptist church, there's one part of the Bible they told us not even to worry about. It's done away with, and we don't have to follow. What part is that? The law. That old law. Don't worry about that old law, right? But what we reading to about you not standing idly by while your brother's life is threatened, that's in the law. So you mean to tell me God saying I don't have to do that anymore? I can just let people die and keep walking, and there's nothing morally wrong. I shouldn't feel morally conflicted about that, right? Because when they're saying that, that's what they're saying, right? Like there's a law about adultery, right? Y'all shall not lay with another man's wife, right? But that's in the law. So you telling me that I can now lay with other brothers' wives? That's madness. You see what I'm saying? But when they say these things about that certain part of the book, that's what they're telling us. Oh, nah, that don't matter no more. You sleep with whoever you want to. Who cares, right? That's madness, right? Give me Matthew 4, right? Because when Jesus Christ first began his ministry, it's called the gospel, right? The first 4 books, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, right? Book of Matthew is the first gospel.
Hey, I'm gonna get more into you. I gotta go.
Yeah, definitely, brother. Just look into it. Keep on your walk, brother. Appreciate you. All right, Armani. Read that Matthew 4:4, right? When Christ first started his ministry, one of the first things he says is so critical, right? And it's such, it just debunks the ideology that there's any part of the Bible that's done away with or just meaningless. All of it is something that we have to follow and explain it. Read.
Matthew chapter 4, verse 4. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God.
Christ said we should live by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. Well, God spoke these words of that law and gave it to the Israelites, right? And it's written in this book for us to read about and follow it now. So Christ said we have to live by everything that God said. Not, okay, now that's old now and we're dealing with, no. He said every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. This is what they never taught us. And this is why our communities are in the disarray that it is now, because if we were taught avidly to live by every word that's in the book, then we would actually act it out. But instead we're told, grace, none of that matters, it's okay, we're all sinners. So now that means Monday morning I can start sinning, I can sin all the way to Saturday night. Then Sunday morning, I'm going to put it on the altar, all is forgiven, I'm back to sinning on Monday. But it's crazy because it's illogical, but this is what we've been doing. Doing a whole lot of sin, and then just going to grace. See that? Give me a Romans. Or what you got, 1 John? Go ahead, get that.
Timothy 3:16. All scripture is given by inspiration of God.
So all this in this book is given by inspiration of God. Read on.
And is profitable for doctrine.
It's profitable for what?
Doctrine.
It's profitable to teach these things to each other. Read.
For reproof.
To correct people. Read.
For correction. For instruction in righteousness.
To instruction in righteousness. Because in English they call it the law, right? But in the Hebrew it's called the Torah, right? Y'all heard that term before, the Torah. Torah in Hebrew literally just means instruction. So people are looking at it like law, but really it's God's instructions, right? If we building something, we ought to follow the instructions if we want the building to come out right. But now we're not following the instructions and we wondering why the building is all jacked up, and the building is us collectively. The building is all jacked up because we're not following the instructions. Go ahead.
1 John 3:4. Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law.
Read on.
For sin is the transgression of the law.
So people talk about, oh, y'all are sinners, we are this and that. But sin is literally the transgression of the law. So if there is no law, then there's no sin. So somebody can't call you a sinner if they don't believe you have to follow what they call the law in the Old Testament, right? But we don't even understand this. We're just calling every damn thing, oh, that's a sin, brother. According to what? If it's not forbidden by the law, you can't call it a sin. So that law is so intricate and so pivotal, but they keep trying to get us and tear us away from it, right? And it's all done divisively, because if they keep us away from it, the Lord's not going to be with us. Give me Deuteronomy 1, right? I'm going to show you something real quick in the book of Deuteronomy. Starting about 40.
Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 40. No, start verse 41. This is what you want. It says, Then ye answered and said unto me, We have sinned against the Lord. We will go up and fight, according to all that the Lord our God commanded us.
That's right. So we sinned against the Lord, and we're going to fight. Read.
And when he had girded on every man his weapons of war, ye were ready to go up into the hill.
Read on.
And the Lord said unto me, Say unto them, Go not up, neither fight, for I am not among you.
God said, don't go and fight, because I am not among you. And why was he not among us? Because we sinned. Right? The Lord ain't going to be with us when we sin. You got to preach that about? Come. All right, with that, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High God, Yahweh. We do so in the name of his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. We say shalom.
Shalom.